It was a sweltering afternoon, the kind of day where the air felt heavy with secrets and unspoken truths, when the quiet unraveling of my life began. I was 29 weeks pregnant, the days marked by the rhythmic pulse of baby kicks, the flutter of excitement over nursery plans, and the routine of doctor visits. Everything seemed as it should be, following the steady, predictable course of life. That is, until last week, when the delicate fabric of that life began to tear, and I found myself standing at the edge of an abyss I never knew existed. It started innocuously enough, just another lunch break at work, shared with my friend and coworker, Emily. We were sipping iced tea under the shade of the oak trees, escaping the heat for a moment, when she turned to me with a question that would ripple through my existence like a stone cast into still waters. "Does your husband have a brother that looks just like him?" she asked, her voice carrying a strange curiosity. I laughed, caught off guard, imagining she was about to launch into a humorous story. "Yes, he does," I replied, feeling the weight of the sun on my skin. "Why?" But her smile faded. There was a pause, a moment of stillness before she spoke again, her eyes betraying something darker. "Is his name John?" I felt it then, a shift, as if the earth itself had tilted. The warmth of the afternoon seemed to vanish, replaced by a cold unease that crept up my spine. "No, that's not his name," I answered slowly, my heart quickening. "Why are you asking?" Emily, with a slow, deliberate motion, took out her phone. The light from the screen reflected off her face as she turned it toward me. "I was on Tinder earlier," she said, "just swiping through, like I usually do, and I came across this." There, staring back at me, was the face I had loved for so many years, the face of my husband. The same photo he had used when we first met all those years ago, the same mischievous smile that had once stolen my heart. But the name beneath it was a stranger's, John. I could barely breathe. The world around me seemed to contract, as if the sky had drawn closer, suffocating, pressing down on me. I stared at the screen, trying to make sense of the impossible. Why was my husband on Tinder? I could barely move, barely think as my mind raced. We were married, we were about to have a child together, and now this? It was as though I had stepped into another life, one where nothing made sense and every familiar thing had taken on a new, distorted shape. Emily's voice, concerned and tentative, reached me from somewhere far away. "Are you okay?" I wasn't. I couldn't answer her. Instead, I mumbled something incoherent and excused myself, stumbling toward the restroom, seeking the solitude of a locked door. There, on the cool tiles of the floor, I sat, staring at the screenshots. My fingers trembled as I held the phone, the weight of betrayal settling into my bones. Has he been doing this all along? The question echoed in my mind, each repetition deepening the wound. The trust one had so effortlessly placed in him now seemed like a fragile illusion. Memories began to surface, moments that I had once brushed aside. The nights he stayed up late, eyes fixed on the screen, claiming he needed alone time. The times I returned from business trips, weary and eager for his embrace, only to find him distant, distracted. I had been blind, or perhaps I had chosen not to see. When I returned to my desk, Emily said nothing more. She must have seen the pallor of my face, the dullness in my eyes. The rest of the day passed in a haze, my thoughts a whirlpool of confusion and anger, fear and disbelief. By the time I got home, I could barely look at him. He greeted me as he always did, with warmth and tenderness, his arms wrapping around me as he asked about my day. I couldn't bring myself to respond with anything more than a hollow murmur. That night, as he slept beside me, his breath steady and calm, I lay wide-eyed in the darkness, the silence of the room suffocating me. Should I confront him? The question gnawed at me, relentless, demanding an answer I wasn't ready to give. I had the proof. Those cursed screenshots were still on my phone, damning evidence of his betrayal. But what would confrontation bring? We were on the cusp of parenthood, our lives intertwined with the fragile thread of a future we had dreamed of together. Could I unravel everything over this? Morning came, but clarity did not. I avoided him, feigning sleep until he left for work, unable to face the weight of the truth. The day stretched on, each hour dragging under the weight of indecision. Confrontation felt like a door I couldn't yet open, but to stay silent felt like a slow death. My thoughts circled endlessly, seeking escape but finding none. When he returned that evening, the tension between us was palpable. He could sense something was wrong, his eyes searching mine for an answer I wasn't ready to give. "What's going on?" he asked, his voice tinged with worry. I couldn't bear to tell him, not yet, not until I had figured out what to do with the pieces of our fractured life. The days since have been a blur of half-truths and buried pain. The secret between us grows heavier with each passing moment, a silent specter that shadows every word, every glance. And still, I don't know what to do. Perhaps it is cowardice that holds me back, or perhaps it is hope, the faint, flickering hope that there might be an explanation, that this is all some terrible misunderstanding. But deep down, I know. The screenshots don't lie. I cannot fathom the immense burden you must carry, especially in this sacred time when you are awaiting the arrival of your child. It is as if the very ground beneath your feet has been swept away at a moment when the world should be filled with joy and expectation. The tempest of emotions, shock, confusion, the bitter sting of anger, must whirl within you, leaving you torn between the desire for clarity and the fear of destroying the fragile edifice of your life. This is not a choice to be made in haste, for such matters demand the full weight of reflection and understanding. But in whatever path you choose, know this: your feelings are neither irrational nor misplaced. You deserve the truth, not only for yourself, but for the future you are preparing to bring into this world. Peace must be your guiding star, whether it is found in confrontation or in seeking solace to navigate the uncertain roads ahead.